If you cast out a demon and don't clean the house, you got to be careful because you'll clean up the house and you'll come back with 7 more demons to come back and occupy that same house. That's why though the Democrats have lost, we don't take the boot off their neck. You got to make sure that fire is completely out or it'll start back up and come back and burn you. Here is a Democrat, huge millionaire supporter who is going independent.
Privately, the vice president has been instructing advisors and allies to keep her options open, whether for a possible 2028 presidential run or even to run as governor in the state of California in 2 years, as Harris has repeated in phone calls, "I am staying in the fight."
Kamala Harris is not going to run in 2028. If she is, well, we'll take another win. Thank you. She's not going to run for governor either because it looks like Nicole Shanahan, that was the running mate to RFK Jr., is going to run for that position and give her a run for her money, which we totally support. Welcome to John, Mike, Keene. All good news ahead.
You know, she thinks she's Obama. She goes to Hawaii because Obama goes to Hawaii. She started talking like Obama, imitating Obama. She is not Barack Obama. She has no talent. She can never run for president again.
That's John Morgan, millionaire. He's given millions to the Biden campaign. We're going to get into that later to show just how he's still kind of slow.
She ran once and got 0 delegates. She got 8% of California. I begged them not to put her up. She was going to be tethered to Biden no matter what. That was a zero-sum game for her. But she thought that all these votes were for her. They were not. The votes that she got were people voting against Trump.
John Morgan has no explanation for why Biden was polling worse than her. Were those also against Trump? Because the Democrat Party has not had a serious candidate or serious pro-American policy in 8 years.
And the votes that Trump got were the people voting for Trump. What the Harris campaign should have done, instead of avoiding Joe Rogan and podcasts, it turns out that Barron Trump, who looks like a runway model, was telling his father, you need to go on podcasts. You need to go on Joe Rogan. You know, he was 3 hours late to a rally because he was doing Joe Rogan because that was so important.
He's only in hindsight thinking that Joe Rogan is the cause of Trump's win. I'm sure Joe Rogan helped, but it was more an indicator of how open Trump was to long-form interviews that Kamala Harris never would. And that idea did come from Barron Trump, who he says looks like a runway model now.
Barron Trump is a lot smarter than everybody in the Harris.
Okay, so now Barron Trump's a genius. Remember, it was 4 to 8 years ago that all the Democrats were saying Barron Trump is some kind of autistic mutant. Rosie O'Donnell said that. They started passing these rumors around, and now he's a runway model and a genius who's smarter than everyone in the Kamala Harris campaign. What changed?
You heard what Carville said. The progressives didn't want to go on Joe Rogan. Look, if I'm running, I'm going on Joe Rogan. I'm living on Fox. That's how you change minds. They played hide the ball. They lost badly. She should go away and never, ever come back.
I hope they keep Kamala Harris present and on media to remind everyone how bad the Democrats are. Roll out Joe Biden and roll out Kamala Harris. John Morgan here is still kind of slow. I don't think he gets it if he's still supporting Joe Biden.
She spent almost $2 billion. They're raising money this week to pay off the debt.
John Morgan did not fund the Kamala Harris campaign, but he was there with $1 to support Joe Biden.
If you can't run your campaign, you damn sure can't run the country.
John, that is the most honest assessment, and I think the most accurate one I've heard from a Democrat so far. And I'm curious for you, as you move forward as a party, who's the future of your party?
Well, my future, look, I'm a Bill Clinton Democrat. And each year that's gone by, I've been pushed further and further and further out.
Remember, this is within the Democrat Party. They're losing all of the old Bill Clinton Democrats, the classic Democrat. They're leaving. They're not buying all this new woke stuff. And this is good news for conservatism. And I'm making a case for the conservative case going forward. It's looking good.
The squad, defund the police, woke, it pushes people like me. I am not a democratic socialist. I was a Democrat with a capital C, capitalist.
Well, if you're a capitalist, you do not belong in the Democrat Party. And this is another strange thing that this guy does not understand. Joe Biden forgiving student loans and things like that, that was all socialism. He went full socialist. Open borders, full socialist. So if you're claiming as a capitalist now you're suddenly against Kamala Harris, you don't know what you're talking about, buddy. And the way forward for the Democrats, they're all talking about embracing Bernie Sanders, who is a formal socialist.
I now am a registered independent because I cannot abide that business.
Well, you're an independent. That's another way of saying, yeah, you're socialist light. You still are not a capitalist.
Look, I love Joe Biden.
Exhibit A that there's something wrong with you.
I think he did a great job. If you look at the record, I know a lot of you all disagree, but objectively, I think history's going to be good to him.
Objectively, he's going to be seen as probably the only one worse than Kamala Harris. Remember, they were saying he was worse than Jimmy Carter before Kamala Harris got on the scene. So I don't know what John Morgan is smoking. I kind of have an idea of what he's smoking.
Joe Biden is the end of my line with Democrats because of the Harrises of this world. I'm more for people than party.
Then welcome to the Republican Party, because that is the party's stance now. It's populism, and it is the People's Party.
In Florida, I ran 2 amendments. I legalized medical marijuana, and I raised the minimum wage. Had to get 60% of the vote.
And that's what he's been smoking. He's pro-marijuana, and he's raising the minimum wage, and he claimed he was a capitalist. Dude, you're a socialist, some kind of leftist.
I would say to the squad and the defund the police crowd, mission accomplished. I'm out.
And I'm so glad you're quitting. And I hope there's many more Democrats like you quitting. Maybe you'll start to become an actual capitalist and be there in 2028 for JD Vance. I'm John Mike Keene.